हाय अर्जुन। Arjun, is Sudeep going to come? Hi Arjun.
Yeah, hello, Dr. Aditya. Am I audible, Arjun?
Yes, you are. Can you turn on the camera?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah. Hi. Okay. We'll start.
Okay. So are we done? When all people have come?
I think we have
Aditya?
some number of people.
Okay, okay,
So I'll give you the floor. Just a second. Yes.
no problem.
Okay, we'll start. Can you turn on your camera?
Yeah, that's it's showing cannot start video. I don't know. Fail to start video camera. Please select another video camera. So let me just try why
Sure.
it is coming like this.
Sure.
I think there is some challenge, maybe. Dr. Aditya, sorry, but I think it
Fine.
is.
Not an issue. I think we can take it up without having our videos also. It's just a session anyway. So at least you're able to share your screen, right, for the presentation?
Yes, yes, yes,
Oh,
certainly.
fine. Okay, fine. So we'll start. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I welcome you all to the third workshop we are organizing from Derbi's Health Hub on regulatory pathways and regulations. Through the Health Hub platform of the Derby Foundation, we hope to close the knowledge gap in medicine and research to foster innovations. Today's workshop is about understanding the ethical committee. This is obtaining approvals as an independent body of experts who review the ethical aspects of proposed research or clinical trials. The ethical committee ensures that the participants' right and dignity and welfare are protected, and that the risk of benefits of the research are balanced. Ethical committee clearance is not a legal requirement, but is a moral obligation for researchers and clinicians who want to conduct ethical and responsible research. So without ethical committee clearance, the research may be invalid or harmful for the participants or the society. So to help us understand more about the ethical committee clearance and how to navigate these critical aspects of medical landscape effectively, we have invited a distinguished speaker with extensive experience in this expertise field. Pleased to welcome Sudhir Patel, founder and director of Quinary Clinical Research Private Limited. He has over 20 years of experience in clinical research, regulatory affairs, quality assurance, and project management. He has obtained ethical committee clearance for over 100 clinical trials across various therapeutic areas and in phases. So as an active member of South Chapter of the Indian Society for or of Clinical Research, and holds post of the secretary at Human Ethics Committee Association, an initiative to set up common platform for all ethical committees in India to learn, interact, and to communicate. So during the course, if you have any kind of a questions, please feel free to drop at the comment section or on the chat boxes. And with this, I open the floor to Sudhir for taking over and letting us know what exactly is ethical committee on its concerns. Over to you, Sudhir.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Aditya. And today, excuse me for my, I'm not able to share my video. Usually, that's not which I personally, the like it. But due to technical challenges, system is not allow me to, switch on the video. So pardon me for that. Hope my screen is visible and my voice is audible, Dr. Aditya.
Yes, that seems to be perfect. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. So friends, today, as Dr. Aditya has mentioned, the ethics committee. So ethics committee is one of the important stakeholders in the cycle of clinical research. And ethics committee clearance is essential for all kind of research. So it is very important for all of us to know that what that ethics committee is, what are the rules and regulation related to the ethics committee, which impacts to the researcher while doing the research, do's and don'ts from the researcher perspective. So all these elements are important for all of us to know. Sometimes what happens, like we as a researcher, we think, okay, ethics committee is not my job, or ethics committee is not related to me. It is a work of ethics committee. Yes, it is a work of the ethics committee. But friends, when we do the research, then we should know about the functioning, about the nature of the work, who is approving our research. Because if any the misfunctioning or any challenges are there in the ethics committee functioning, that will impact directly to your research. So with this, I will take you through the discussions in my today's presentation on these are the certain topics where we will quickly go through this introduction about the EC. What is the importance of the ethics committees? Ethics committee structure in India. It is important to know how the composition will be. Maybe you will not be you will not go in a deeply about the functioning, but at least you should know that what is the composition of the ethics committee, what is the review process directly related to your research which you are submitting. Ethics committee functions, common ethical concerns. When you design your research, common ethical concerns which you have to take care while designing of your research. Study protocol content. When we write the protocol, how the protocol should be. Scientifically sound protocol, we usually say, but how that protocol should be, what all the basic the content should be there in the protocol. Other expected documents. When you go for the ethics committee submission, what all the documents are expected to be enclosed in the ethics committee while ethics committee submission. Insurance, importance of informed consent, and benefits of the ethics committee. Introduction to the ethics committee clearance. So ethics committee, now in India, you must have heard about institutional ethics committee, and some people are referring independent ethics committee. So ethics committee, in what is institutional, what is independent, for it is important, it is for us, it is important to know. Now, first of all, there is no difference in terms of the functioning of the ethics committee, whether it is an institutional ethics committee or independent ethics committee, both are same for their functioning of the ethics committee. But what is the difference? So institutional, when it is comes, it is associated with the institute, means affiliated with that particular institute. So any hospital ethics committee will be typically known as an institutional ethics committee because it is formed under the institute authority. So that's an institutional ethics committee. Whereas independent ethics committee is not affiliated with any institute, and it has formed as a kind of a association of persons. So group of people have come together and they have formed the ethics committee according to the rules and regulation available. So that kind of a committee is an independent committee, but both committees should be registered under the same rule and both committee will have a same functioning. Now, I will go one step beyond. So I discussed about institutional and independent, but in this also, there is a differentiation in terms of the functioning. There are type of the ethics committee which is categorized according to their function. So one is a clinical trial ethics committee and other is a biomedical research ethics committee. So institutional ethics committee and independent ethics committee, they will also have a subcategory. Some committee might take care of the only clinical trial related part. So when I say clinical trials, I mean that the trials which is typically drug clinical trials and the trials which falls under the DCGI, Drug Controller General of India. So the trial which falls under the DCGI purview, they will have get the approval from the committee which is CDSCO related, that DCGI ethics committee. And other category is a biomedical research ethics committee, which only takes care of the biomedical research. Now, what is biomedical research? The other than clinical trial, that whatever the scientific research happens, where you try to get more and more information about the disease, about the existing condition, or about the existing doses, maybe you will get a more information, more innovations, which will improve the life of patient. So that kind of a research falls under the biomedical research. For that, there is a ethics committee, and that is a biomedical research ethics committee. Okay, so this is a type according to their function. So first type is according to their affiliation. The other type is according to their function. And now what is the difference in this? So when I am talking about the biomedical research, that ethics committee is registered under Department of Health Research, whereas the clinical trial ethics committee is registered under CDSU department, CDSU related, functioning. So this is how the ethics committee is in the India, like it introduced in the India. So Declaration of Helsinki, and there are ICH-GCP, all these guidelines and regulation, it talks about the ethics committee. So here there are one or two examples for your reference, that the Declaration of Helsinki, you must have heard about DOH, Declaration of Helsinki, the ethical aspects, the ethical principles related document. So it says that the research proposal protocol must be submitted for consideration, comment, guidance, and approval to a research ethics committee before the study begins. This is the thumb rule. So before you start study, you should have a valid ethics committee approval. And this is the ethics committee role, that they review the protocol, guide, they provide their guidance, they provide feedback, they provide comment, and if everything is okay, they provide approval to that research. At the same time, the ICH-GCP, International Conference on Harmonization for Good Clinical Practices, states that a trial should be conducted in compliance with the protocol that has received prior ethics committee, IRB / independent ethics committee approval. Now, friends, here sometimes we get confused with IRB, whether it is an institutional ethics committee, independent ethics committee, or IRB. What is right word? So basically, IRB is generally a Western country use this particular word, IRB, whereas in India, the commonly used word is a IEC, Independent Ethics Committee, or Institutional Ethics Committee. So, but all rules says a same: before you start and begin the research, ethics committee approval should be obtained. What is the importance of the ethics committee clearance? Why ethics committee clearance is required? So simple, make sure everything is done ethically, within reason, of course. So that is the ethics committee is not a committee of kind of a monitoring committee or surveillance committee. No. Ethics committee only takes care of the ethics part, right, safety, and well-being of participant. That is the objective of the ethics committee. They will not go beyond this, or we cannot expect also from beyond this objective. So what is the objective of the ethics committee? Right, safety, and well-being of participant. So there are certain checkpoints or certain issues which can be clarified post while ethics committee review. So what are the points which can be taken care during the ethics committee review? One is ethical integrity. Ensure research is conducted according to the ethical standard. Now the question is, what are the ethical standards? So the ethical standard, the one ethical standard is a respect of the person. What is that? Respect of the person. So that is also ethical standard. Respect of the person means whoever participate in the research, we provide sufficient information to them, comprehensive information to them. And that's how we ensure that we respected who participated. The other ethical standard is beneficence. So you ensure the benefits are there. If the participant participated in the study, then there will be benefit to them. So that also is a second ethical principle or ethical standard. And third is justice. So there should be a justice to the participant. How justice? That, we will not differentiate the people or participants based on their other factors like caste, religious, and other. There will be a straight common criteria for including participants in the study. That is called inclusion-exclusion criteria. So irrespective of their literate, illiterate, male, female, the different factors like caste, religious, we will purely go by the inclusion-exclusion criteria and we select the participants. So justice to all. So this is the ethical integrity which will be taken care by the ethics committee for your research. Legal compliance. In the ethics committee, there will be a legal person also who will take care that the research which has been conducted is legally comply. Participant protection, as I mentioned, right, safety, and well-being. That is the main objective. That is the main objective of the participants related participants protection. Data credibility. Whatever the data is generated, the data has a quality and credibility. Public trust, legal protection. So these are the checkpoints which will be taken care by the ethics committee during their review. So this is the importance of the ethics committee. Ethics committee in India, already we discussed that we have a ethics committee, institutional IRB. Will not, since we have already covered this in first slide, we will skip this. Coming to the composition of the ethics committee. So friends, it is very important for all of you to know that how ethics committee has formed. There are different ethics committee members with different portfolio. So there will be a chairperson. There will be a member secretary, basic medical scientist, clinician, legal expert, social scientist, and layperson. So these are the members. Minimum 7 members needs to be there to form the ethics committee. Very important point. Minimum 7 members required with this classification to form the ethics committee. One should be chairperson, other member secretary, medical scientist. All that scientific related part will be taken care by the medical scientist member. Clinician, safety related aspects. Safety related aspects will be taken care by the clinician. Legal expert, that legal expert, that legally qualified person who will take care of the legal part of the study. Social scientist, all social aspects will be taken care by the person. And layperson is a layperson, as by the word, the layperson. No relation with, no connect with the research, no connect with scientific part. Layperson coming out from the community who will think for the participant, who will think about community perspective. So is a, we can say other layperson in the other term language is community representative. So this is the ethics committee composition. Now, friends, it is very important. Now, when your research is submitted to the ethics committee, and when your research is under review, then when you are presenting, so you as a researcher, you as an investigator should ensure that the research is reviewed by this panel. So if there are any, let's say, take example, medical scientist is not there. Medical scientist is not there in the ethics committee discussion in the forum. Then there is a challenge. That means, what is the challenge? The quorum is not completed. Quorum is not completed. And similarly, the clinicians, one second, sorry. Am I audible now, Dr. Aditya?
Yes, you are.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, sorry for disturbance. Now, so what I was talking about is a quorum is not completed. Now, when quorum is not completed, any one of the member is not available during the research, then your research review is incomplete. Your approval letter is incomplete, cannot be considered the valid ethics committee approval letter. So that is why you as a researcher should ensure that the complete quorum is available while your research is review. And for knowing that, you should be aware of that, what is a quorum. Now, ethics committee functioning. So what is the ethics committee functions? Very not in a the micro level what ethics committee does, but the important aspects which you wanted to know as a researcher. So ethics committee functions, first is a protocol review. Obviously, like whatever the research which you are submitting, they will review that research. So they will, you will submit all the required documents. They will review before meeting. Then there will be a formal discussions, formal meetings will happen, whether it is a physical meeting or virtual meeting, the meeting will happen, and then they provide their view on that particular research, either in written format, or maybe the information will come to you, you will make the changes, and then there will be approval. There is a possibility that there is no comments as well. So protocol review. Informed consent. Ethics committee requires informed consent, and informed consent, when you are submitting, then it should be along with the local language informed consent. If you are targeting the local population in your study, then English informed consent along with the local informed consent is also required. Ongoing monitoring. Ongoing monitoring. So one time they approve your research, but later, one time they approve, but later what? So later also they will do the ongoing monitoring with the safety perspective. So how they will do the ongoing monitoring? Physical or virtual, or is there any other way? So there are different ways. One is you as a researcher will submit them progress report. So you are investigator. It is your responsibility to submit them the progress report about your study, about the study which has been approved by them, and they will review that. That is a part of the ongoing monitoring. Other way of ongoing monitoring is a physical monitoring visit, physical on site. So they will come on site and they will visit and they will review. Risk benefit assessment. One of the important factor and responsibility of the ethics committee is a risk benefit assessment. Now, what is risk benefit assessment? So whenever you do research, there is always a risk associated, and there is always a benefit associated. It is a responsibility of both you as a researcher as well as the ethics committee to assess the risk is less compared to the benefits. And that's how. So is there any tool available to measure that? No, there is no tool. There is no quantitative method. So all that methods based on the evidences, experience, qualifications, data available, ethics committee has to judge that the risk is more or benefits are more. Confidentiality. Confidentiality is one of the important aspects where we all, you as a researcher, we as ethics committee, everyone should ensure that the confidentiality of the participants maintained. And how to ensure that confidentiality agreement? So you as a researcher are signed the confidentiality agreement. Ethics committee also signs the confidentiality agreement. And everyone ensures that the participants participating in the study are protected. Their rights, their well-being, their everything is protected by the stakeholders. Legal and ethical compliance. Legal and ethical compliance. So verifying that the research complies with the laws. And friends, this is a very important aspect where we all should know the land of law when we are doing the research. Today, I was just interacting with one of the CRO, and that CRO person was like, they were asking, like, they were also researcher. So they were asking, what all the documents are required for ethics committee submission? So we listed, like, these are the documents. And then one of the document was training certificate, the GCP training certificate, the rules and regulation, whichever is there in country, that training of that certificate. Now their question was, is this document mandatory, the certificates? Because our investigator does not have that in certificate. Our team does not have the certificate. See, we are doing a research, but we are not trained. So they were asking, like, is qualification and experience does not suffice? Answer is big no. See, qualification makes you eligible for doing the research. But this land of law says how to do the research. What are the precautions? What are the steps to be followed while doing the research? So it is very essential that you all should be trained on the GCP, Good Clinical Practices guideline. You all should be trained on the Indian Council of Medical Research guideline, New Drug Clinical Trial Regulation, the document, and training of that training certificate is essential. So legal and ethical compliance. So whenever you do a ethics committee submission, you have to submit the documents which is related to the training. Common ethical concerns. What are the common ethical issues which we come across as a researcher? So what are that? Participant welfare. The main one is a welfare of the participant, because whenever you get involved the participants, that research, there you have to ensure the welfare of the participants. The informed consent. We always say that when the informed consent is completed, then half done. Your research is half done. So appropriate execution of the informed consent document is equivalent to half done of the study. And now what is informed consent? Informed consent is the document which goes to the participant, and it says participant that what is the study What is the role? What is the responsibility of the investigator? What is the responsibility of the patient? What are the benefits? What are the risks? Everything will be mentioned in the informed consent. And one more important point is it will be written in a layman language, which can be understood by the participant. So if participant is like local language, so it will be written in the local language to ensure that there is no technicality and technical jargons included in the ICF. It will be most simpler way it will be presented. Privacy and confidentiality, already we discussed, but that is one of the important ethical concerns. Concern is we need to ensure their privacy and confidentiality. Scientific integrity. Now, how come that scientific integrity comes? It starts with the writing of the protocol. When we write the protocol, we need to ensure that the protocol is written scientifically sound. Now, how to write the scientifically sound protocol? Maybe I will discuss little more in my subsequent PPT as well. So that is a scientific integrity. Bias and conflicts of interest. Conflict of interest. This is also one of the essential aspects. Conflict of interest. Now, what is the meaning of conflict of interest? COI. Conflict of interest is when the primary interest is compromised with the secondary interest. That is called conflict of interest. Now, what is a primary interest? Let's say you as a researcher, your primary interest will be to conduct the study in a with the scientific sound protocol, to ensure the participants' safety, to ensure the privacy and confidentiality of the participants. These are your primary objective. When they compromised with secondary objective may be your commercial interest, financial interest, positional interest, political interest. If these are the secondary, if any secondary things are there, and if it secondary, because of this secondary interest, if the primary interest is compromised, there is a conflict of interest. So we need to ensure there is no conflict of interest. Let's take example that you are a researcher and your guide is a chairperson of the ethics committee. There is a conflict of interest. So when your research is placed on the table for review, your guide should not be a part of the ethics committee. Social and cultural sensitivity. So whenever we do research, we should not see only like benefit of ours. We always have to see the benefit of the community, benefit of the participants. So for benefit of many, you cannot explore the one person under the risk. That is also there. So you need to see the social and cultural sensitivity. So like you cannot, the religious things. So whenever there is a religious, you cannot ignore that as well for doing your research. So these are the all common ethical concerns which we have to ensure. The role of ethics committee in mitigating these all concerns. How that ethics committee plays a role for mitigating all these concerns. Ethics committee plays a pivotal role. How they assess and evaluate the potential ethical issues, provide recommendations. Through their scrutiny and oversight, ethics committees contribute to protection of participant welfare, data privacy, and overall ethical integrity. Already we have seen that importance of the ethics committee. I keep on talking about the study protocol, scientific design, scientific sound protocol, but how you can make that scientifically sound protocol? How you can make that scientifically sound protocol? So with these are the all bullet points which we have to ensure while designing the protocol. There should be an appropriate background. Why are we doing this research? What is the need of this research? Maybe we need to provide the background of that. Objective. What is the objective of this doing this research? Means primary objective, secondary objective. We need to mention. Study design, that how that study will be designed, the methodology for doing the conduct of the study. Eligibility criteria. Eligibility criteria is inclusion criteria, exclusion criteria, protocol number and version number. Now, protocol number and version number is something identity of your protocol. Means if you want to identify the protocol, there should be a proper identity. So today you have a version 1. Tomorrow when you update, then it is a version 2. So the protocol number, version number is also important. Duration of the study, how long this study will run, benefit risk assessment, consent procedure, statistical plan. This is like sometimes the question comes, how many patients to be we can write in the protocol, how many studies to be performed on how many subject population, that we can't decide randomly. There should be an appropriate statistical justification. Study monitoring plan, protocol signature page, undertaking by the investigator, privacy and confidentiality statement, proposed compensation, plan for publication, ethical consideration, and data collection methods. So these are the bullet points which you as a researcher have to ensure while designing of the protocol. And under each, you can elaborate the content. Along with the protocol, what are other expected documents? So the case report form, sometimes it called as a questionnaire or patient diary. Accrual method. Accrual method is nothing but how you are going to enroll the patient, how you are going to enroll the subjects. So all this methods you may have to write, either OPD visit or IPD visit or just a data collection study. You are just collecting a retrospective data or just collecting the prospect or collecting the prospective data. But all method has to be submitted to the ethics committee and gets the approval. Investigator brochure. What is an investigator brochure? Investigator brochure is nothing but it is a document where all that investigational product related information will be there. In other language, if we say it is a literature. If it is a medical device, then medical device related information should be there. GCP training certificate, undertaking of the investigators. Now, what is undertaking of investigators? Undertaking of investigator is a declaration of the investigator. Means I, as an investigator, will perform the trial according to the rules and regulation, according to the study protocol, and we do not have any financial obligations while doing the trial. So this kind of this is just one or two examples, but this way there should be a declaration given by the investigators, principal investigator and co-investigator. Regulatory permission. So whenever we do the regulatory studies, we need to obtain the regulatory permissions. MOU in case of studies involving collaboration with other institutions. Clinical trial agreement. So these are the all documents needs to be submitted along with the study protocol and the informed consent document to the ethics committee while submission. So you as a researcher should know that what all the documents are expected to be submitted to get the ethics committee clearance. Now, informed consent. We just touch upon that, what is the informed consent. But now this says that what is the importance of the informed consent? What is the significance of informed consent? Everyone knows that the consent has to be taken. The question is why that consent has to be taken. So ethical foundation, informed consent is the ethical cornerstone of research, ensuring that participants' autonomy. So this is where the autonomy is respected. And one of the ethical standard which I have told, that the respect of person, how to ensure that the respect of person is taken care. So it is through the informed consent document. Protection. It protects the participants from harm. How? That by providing the sufficient information about the study, by providing the sufficient information on the risk and benefits, providing sufficient information on the adverse event, serious adverse event, it protects the participants. It ensures that participants takes the appropriate decision for getting enrolled into the study. So it protects also. Transparency. Transparency between the investigator and the participant. So there is no question. If you are taking consent, there is no question that there is a influence. So transparency you are achieving through informed consent document. And it is a legal requirement. So in many countries, including India, obtaining informed consent, valid informed consent is a legal requirement. So friends, this is a legal requirement, not like study specific requirement to have the consent. Before you start the study, first step is an informed consent form. Now, informed consent there should be there is a two part. One is a patient information sheet, which is called as a PIS, patient information sheet, and the other is a IC, informed consent. So through patient information sheet, you can provide a sufficient information to them. And post that you can get it signed and vetted by the investigator as well as the participants as an informed consent. So this is an informed consent where one original document will be written with us and the other copy will be handed over to the patient. Insurance. Now, this insurance is also one of the important aspect which you as a researcher has to take care. Now, you will be thinking, what is the role of insurance in the research we do? So first is your research has to be protected. You as a researcher also has to be protected. Also, the participants, those who are getting enrolled into the research, they also has to be protected. And that's why the insurance is there. If there is a clinical trial, straight away, if there is a sponsored clinical trial, the insurance responsibility is a sponsor. So sponsor will take care the complete insurance part. So in case of any injuries are there, related injuries are there in the study, they will ensure that this all harms related to the studies are ensured. The other insurance is the institutional insurance. Now, you are researcher doing the research under the institute. So then it is institute becomes a sponsor. And in that case, institute should have the insurance, valid insurance. And the third aspect is you as an individual researcher do the research. There is no affiliation with the institute, no affiliation with any sponsor, then you become a sponsor in that case, and then it is your liability to have a valid insurance for doing the research. Now, primarily the insurance required where the participants, where the patient interventions are there, patient or subject interventions are there. In that kind of a studies, insurance is required. So I have given a 3 aspect. First of all, it is a responsibility of the sponsor to have a valid insurance. Sponsored clinical trial, sponsor will take care. Institutional research, institute will become a sponsor, and they have to provide a coverage of the insurance. But when you do alone in your individual capacity, then you will become a sponsor and you have to ensure. Benefits of the ethics committee. We have seen that importance of the ethics committee. Now, this slide will talk about the benefits of the ethics committee. So benefits are credibility. Friends, this is very quite often we see that many researchers, they come to us for getting the ethics committee clearance. And for getting the ethics committee clearance, one of the primary reason, especially the academia like you, the primary reason will be to publish the research in the journal. So the publishing house always requires the ethics committee approval. So it is a credibility of to your research. Legal compliance, repeatedly we have mentioned, it is a legal requirement basically. Third is ethical responsibility, because your research has to be reviewed by the committee which ensures the ethical aspects. So ethical responsibility, quality research, whatever you do is as per the rules and regulations. So there is a quality research. Public trust, always when there is a approval from the ethics committee, it gives a setup a different level of trust, because it has undergone the one registered committee which has various experts who has reviewed this protocol, who has reviewed this research, and then give a green signal. So public trust is there. Risk mitigation, maybe you as a researcher have designed the protocol, but you may miss something. So ethics committee will come, then they will share your responsibility and mitigate the risk. Scientific validity, global acceptance, publication opportunities already we discussed. Funding attraction, when your research is approved by the ethics committee, it attracts the funding as well, because the ethics committee is a registered authority, and registered authority has approved your protocol with the objective. So it gives a separate, different kind of a confidence among the stakeholders, among the funding organizations. So these are the all benefits of the ethics committee. Friends, so this was all about the ethics committee clearance. So we discussed what is ethics committee. We discussed about the ethics committee functioning, ethics committee composition, how that ethics committee forms. What are the ethical concerns which we have to ensure while designing of the research? How that documents to be designed, to be written, like protocol, informed consent, and what are the minimum documents to be enclosed in the research while submitting to the ethics committee. Insurance, importance of the insurance, type of the ethics committees, importance of the informed consent. All these points we have discussed in detail. Now, one point which it has not been mentioned here, but I would like to mention, since we all are here, and especially the researcher, that your research has to be submitted to the CTRI, irrespective of what research you are doing, whether it is a biomedical research or clinical trials or other data collection studies, but your research has to be submitted on CTRI. What is CTRI? Clinical Trial Registry of India. Now, previously only clinical trials supposed to be submitted, but now they have made it mandate. It's recommended, not a mandate, but recommended that all kind of a research has to be uploaded on CTRI and to get the appropriate, the valid CTRI number, because the CTRI number is essential for the ethics committee submission as well. So this point was not mentioned in my presentation, but I thought it is important for all of you to know about this. So with this, I am done of my presentation. Now the floor is open if you have any question. Dr. Aditya.
Yes, thank you, Sudhir, for this presentation. Any questions from the participants? I'd like to have one or two questions. Please feel free to ask any questions regarding any of the topic which we have discussed so far. Just to mention, this is the third one of the sessions which we have been participating in. We had already completed two parts of the same session. Both of them are available in other social media platforms such as LinkedIn. And you can always go back and have a look at what exactly it is. First one was more about regulatory pathway. Second was more about regulatory pathway in details and trying to understand the regulatory clearance and its acceptance in its validity. So these are the three set of topics which we have actually covered in this series of workshop. We look forward to more such workshops in the near future. So any questions regarding ethical committee clearance as of today, we'll be happy to take and probably ask Sudhir for relevant information. Anybody?
Hi,
Yes.
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir, you mentioned in one of your slide that GCP training is mandatory. So can you little brief more about that? GCP training as a company, or what is the training, sir, you were mentioning?
GCP training for the individual, those who are involved in the research. So investigator, co-investigator, study staff, everyone should be trained on the GCP. And not only the GCP, but if we in India, when we are doing the research, there is a new drug clinical trial regulation. It is a rule. We should have a knowledge about that. We should be having a training on that. And also the guideline, national ethical guideline for biomedical research. People should be trained on that as well.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So this is certification also is mandatory by all the ethical committee team, is it? GCP training certificate.
It is ethical team as well as the researcher. Everyone has to undergo this training, and they should have a certificate as well.
Okay, so my next question was by undertaking the investigator. So undertaking is only done by a principal and the co-investigator, or the
Yes.
entire team, sir?
Only investigator.
Okay, so and the next thing is a regulatory permission. Can you little brief on that, sir? Regulatory permission.
So regulatory permission is like, first of all, the ethics committee is a different and regulatory is a different. When I'm talking about the regulatory, then it is a Drug Controller General of India, DCGI. So DCGI is our regulatory. And whenever we do the regulated trial, then we have to get the clearance from it is a no objection certificate from the regulatory for doing the trial. So that is that is called the regulatory permission. And there is a process. There is a separate set of the documents to be submitted. Everything is mentioned under the new drug clinical trial regulation document.
So this includes for drugs or also for medical devices, sir?
Yes, medical device also. Medical device also, it falls under the Drug Controller General of India only. DCGI controls the drug as well as the medical device. So for medical device regulatory permission also, you have to submit there you have to follow the medical device rule 2017.
Okay, sir, got it. So my last question is regarding the insurance, sir. So insurance, like for the like where we are only just collecting the samples, like venous blood samples or the finger prick, even then the insurance is required, sir.
So basically, the insurance is not something which is a mandatory requirement, but it is a recommended requirement. So here, always it is a call of investigator, I can say, that whether here what kind of a risk is anticipated. Okay, now obviously you are giving a drug, the more risk is involved. If you are doing some kind of a intervention, then the risk is involved. If there is no intervention involved, the risk is less. So depends on the risk.
Risk level. Okay,
Yeah,
sir.
risk level, you take a call. So obviously, like, in every insurance, we go by the risk level, right?
Correct, sir. Yeah. Got it, sir. Thank you, sir.
I think Rupa Ashwath, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay,
Rupash.
hi, yes.
Yeah. The session was really helpful, sir. It cleared a
Thank
lot of.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Any
So
other
one
question?
last question
No,
regarding
please, no problem.
regulatory permission. Like since you're like we are collecting our samples will be mostly in the field or campus. I mean camps organized by the government or something like that. So in that case, informed consent. How should we go with the informed consents? No? It's the same procedure. Like we can draft our own informed consents, like you mentioned, the patient informed sheet and the informed consent, and individually will explain the process and risk and everything involved and take their informed consent. That's the procedure we're supposed to follow, right, sir?
Correct.
Okay, sir. So, and
Yeah.
for this kind of clinical trials, we have to still apply for SEDESCO and get the permission, sir?
Yes. Correct.
Okay, sir. Fine. It's clear, sir. That's all from my end, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, welcome. Okay. So, I mean, anytime you can reach out to us, Dr. Aditya, if in future also, if any other questions are there, or maybe individually also, if they have any question, if they want to reach out to us, they are feel free to do that. So with that, I am done, Dr. Aditya. So thank you very much for this session once again. And we are looking forward to have, such kind of sessions. Hello.
Yes, sir. You're audible, sir. Yeah.
Okay. So I think Dr. Aditya or maybe.
Yes, sir. Request to do more of such kind of things. It's really helping us, this kind of workshops or sessions.
Sure. So yes. I think we'll conclude this session. Maybe Arjun, is it okay? Or I think Dr. Aditya is not able to maybe hear, or is he not there?
I don't think he's there. I think we can conclude the session.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks to everyone for this.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.